Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm back with something a little bit different. Today I'm going to be ranking every single championship team stadium from the 2024-25 championship season. Last year I did do a video where I ranked every single away day that I'd been on. But yeah, today I'm going to be ranking every single championship team's ground. Obviously, well, prior to this season I'd been to them all, barring Plymouth, Leeds and Portsmouth, which I've now completed this season to obviously make the full 24 complete. So yeah, starting off, I'm gonna go from 24th and work my way up. So starting off from 24th, I'm gonna go with Oxford. I think, you know, obviously the ground is only it's only got 3 stands, but yeah, that's why I've put them in 24th. I do really like Oxford as a club. I've got family from Oxford who used to go to Oxford games and stuff. So yeah, I really like Oxford as a club, but I think in terms of the stadium, it's not one of the best I've been to. So I'm gonna put Oxford as the 24th. 23rd, I'm gonna go with Luton. I know obviously it's got that sort of like nostalgia, and it's a bit different, you know, when you're walking through the houses and stuff. I think it is pretty cool, but in terms of, you know, aesthetically, I don't think it's the most pleasing ground to look at, but I know they are obviously building on that. Obviously they have now been relegated to League One, so I think, you know, they do need to sort of work on the ground. I think it will help the club massively in trying to get back up the leagues. 22nd, I've gone with Hull. It's a really big ground in fairness, and it's got a bit of atmosphere now and then, but I just feel like, you know, there's not really that much to do around the stadium, and yeah, it's just personally not up there for me. But I've gone with Hull in 22nd. 21st, then I've gone with Coventry. Pretty similar to Hull. Again, you know, a really big ground, got a bit of atmosphere, especially this season with obviously their playoff run. But I just think there's not really much to do around the ground, so, you know, for that reason I'm gonna have to put it as 21st. 20th, then I've gone with Plymouth. I went there December time. It was freezing. We did get the win. Rooney was still in charge of Plymouth then. What I will say about their ground is it looks very, very modern. Yeah, I had a nice pie from in there, which was lovely. But yeah, no, their stadium is very modern. I just think, again, there's not too much to do around the ground. So yeah, for that reason, I'm going to put it in 20th. 19th, Stoke. You know, it's obviously a big ground. It's been in the Premier League. It's been there for some time. It is right next to the motorway, and I from what I remember, it's in an industrial estate as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Stoke in 19th. 18th, I'm going to go with Derby. I went there a few seasons ago. Pride Park. Yeah, I went there quite a few seasons ago, so yeah, it was a long time since I went. I think it was a 0-0, so maybe, you know, that sort of always in the back of my mind. I'm trying to obviously base it just on the stadium itself and what's around there rather than my personal experience there, but you know, maybe that is also coming into to factor it a little bit. But yeah, Derby, I'm going to go with 18th, and then 17th I've gone with Portsmouth, Fratton Park. I went there at the beginning of the year, New Year's Day, when we lost 4-0. To be fair, there was quite a bit to do around the ground, and yeah, it's not a bad stadium at all. You know, it's pretty good from the inside. If I'm being honest, I think from the outside it's a little bit strange. Like there is no concourse for away fans. I don't know if it's the same for the home fans. I highly doubt it. But for the away fans, there's no indoor concourse. So, you know, it's all outside. And I remember it was absolutely pissing it down that day as well. And the toilets are all outside as well, which is a little bit annoying. So yeah, I'm going to put Fratton Park in 17th. 16th, I'm going to go with Deepdale, Preston. Yes, it's in all fairness, there's quite a lot to do around that stadium. It's a little bit similar to the Liberty Stadium or the Swansea.ComStadium with all the shops around it. Reminds me a little bit of Morva. So yeah, I quite like Preston's. 15th, I'm going to go with the Cardiff City Stadium, Cardiff. You know, I know obviously they are rivals, and, you know, there's a bit of banter about, you know, them not being able to, you know, always sell out the stadium. But I think as far as the actual stadium itself goes, I think it's actually not that bad. You know, I've been there a few times. I think I've been there for three South Wales derbies, and I've been there for 2 Wales games. So yeah, I've been there quite a few times. There's a bit to do around the ground as well. So yeah, for that reason, I'll put the Cardiff City Stadium in 15th. 14th place, then I'll go with Loftus Road, home to Queen's Park Rangers. Yeah, I think I do like it. It's got that sort of like feel good vibe in the stadium. You know, when you think back to like you know, Barclays Premier League, this is obviously one of those sort of stadiums I always think of. So yeah, I do really like it. I'm a little bit mixed about the, you know, the split between the upper tier and the lower tier. Obviously it is you know, it is quite cool in a way, because obviously, you know, you get a lot of fans in there, but then at the same time, you know, the top level and bottom level are obviously separate from each other. So yeah, obviously it depends, but I'm a bit torn about that. But I think as far as the ground goes as a whole, I quite like it. 13th, I've gone with Vicarage Road, Watford. I went there on I think it was a Wednesday night. 17 minutes of added time in that game, which was a pretty crazy game. But yeah, I like the ground. Quite a lot to do around there, quite a few pubs. So yeah, I'm going to go with Vicarage Road in 13th. 12th, I'm going to go with Ashton Gate, Bristol City. I think I've been there 4 times. You know, I think, you know, the reason maybe I'm putting it quite high is because obviously Bristol Swansea is sort of a derby, and, you know, I always associate that stadium with having good atmosphere because they're the games I've been to. But I think, yeah, to be honest, there's not a great deal around the stadium to do, but I think the atmosphere is good. I quite like the stadium itself as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ashton Gate in 12th, and then in 11th, I'm gonna go with the Den, Millwall. Only been there once. Obviously, it's not the same as what it used to be, you know, back in the day. But yeah, I think it's still a very, very good stadium. When I went there, it was on a midweek, so the atmosphere wasn't the best. But I think, you know, the stadium's pretty cool, and yeah, I quite liked it. Didn't really do too much around there because we arrived there quite close to kick-off, so we just went straight in. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Den in 11th. In 10th place, I'm going to go with Bramall Lane, Sheffield United. Very big stadium, but again, not a great deal to do around there, but a very good atmosphere, I will say. I went there a few seasons ago. When I can't remember what the score was, I'm pretty sure it was 3 or 4-0, but yeah, I went there a few seasons ago. So I'm going to put Sheffield United in 10th. 9th, I'm going to go with Carrow Road, Norwich. Again, a little bit like QPR, it's just got that sort of feel-good vibe to it. And I think, you know, when you think of Barclays Premier League, you also think of Carrow Road. So I'm going to go with Norwich in 9th. Yeah, I really like the stadium. You know, I think it's quite different, quite unique. So yeah, I'm going to go Norwich in 9th. 8th place, I'm going to go with West Bromwich Albion, the Hawthorns. This is actually the stadium I've been to the most, other than obviously Swansea Stadium. I think I've been there 5 times now. Seen some mixed results, but yeah, I quite like the stadium, if I'm being honest. I like the away end as well. I think it's really good, and the atmosphere is always good in there when I've been in there. So yeah, I'm going to go with West Brom in 8th. 7th, might be a little bit biased, but I'm going to go with the Swansea.ComStadium. Obviously, it is going to be high for me. Obviously, anyone that does this is going to put their home club high, because obviously you've got the most experience of any ground. Well, I've been there the most times, obviously, so obviously I'm going to put that high up. But I just think, you know, even from, obviously I can't speak for away fans, but I think, you know, if I was an away fan going there, I think it, you know, there is a lot to do there. Obviously, you've got the bridge, you've got all the shops, you've got a few pubs as well. So I think, you know, it is always, you know, a nice ground, especially when the sun's out, you know, and you're walking across the bridge and you're getting ready to go in the stadium. I think it's, you know, nothing beats that, obviously, from a home fan's perspective. But I think, you know, if you're a away fan going there, I think I think they quite like the stadium, and the stadium itself is you know, a really nice stadium as well, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm going to go with Swansea in 7th. 6th, then I'm going to go with Turf Moor, Burnley. You know, proper football ground. That is, I went there and we lost 4-0. I think we were on a 5-game winning run under Martin, and then we went there and lost 4-0. But yeah, a very good ground, a few pubs around it as well. And yeah, despite the 4-0 defeat, it was actually a good experience when I went there, and it was probably one of my more favourite away games, if I'm being honest with you. 5th place, I'm going to go with Sheffield Wednesday. I quite like Hillsborough. You know, obviously the ground's been there for some time. As some really banging curry sauce and chips as well from this window a few rows down from the stadium, which was banging as well. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sheffield Wednesday in 5th. 4th place, I'm going to go with the Riverside Stadium, Middlesbrough. I think there's a lot of things to do around there. I've been there twice as well, and you know, it's a very long way, so I'm glad the stadium is nice. You know, to travel that way, you know, it's good to see a nice stadium, and I think the atmosphere in there is really good. I think the stadium looks good from both the inside and the outside. So yeah, for that reason, I'm going to go with Middlesbrough in 4th. 3rd place, I think this is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated. I can't really explain it, but I just really like the ground, and that's Ewood Park, Blackburn. I just think it's, you know, a sort of proper football ground, heritage, old style sort of stadium, and I think, yeah, it looks really good from both the outside and the inside, and yeah, it's one of my personal favourites. I don't know what it is about it, just really seem to like it. Only ever been there once, but yeah, I really like that ground. 2nd place, I'm going to go with Elland Road, Leeds. Went there this season for the first time when we drew 2-2. Potnick scored in the last minute. You know, good atmosphere from our fans, good atmosphere from their fans, and I think the stadium is you know, it's obviously a very good stadium. You know, it's got a lot of atmosphere, and you know, when you think of one of the best atmospheres and stadiums in English football, you would think about Elland Road. The only downside to it, in my opinion, is the walk. It's a long walk from where we got dropped off from the bus to the actual stadium, so that's the only downside. But I guess that is obviously because of, you know, how big of a fan base Leeds are. So it's, you know, it's all to do with safety and that. I understand that, but yeah, very good stadium. And in 1st place, I'm going to go with Sunderland, the Stadium of Light. Yeah, absolutely amazing stadium. You know, it's obviously they've gone back up to the Premier League now with Leeds and Burnley, but yeah, you know, that stadium deserves to be in the Premier League. Such a big stadium to be in the Championship. I've only been there once. We won 3-1, so you know, that was, you know, to top it off as well. But I think, you know, an excellent stadium. Out of all the away grounds I've been to, that's definitely got the highest away stand. You know, is right at the very top, and yeah, I think it's just a really good stadium. It's massive, and you know, there's a lot of history there. Obviously, they've been up and down the leagues, and now finally returning to the promised land of the Premier League, where, you know, I do think Sunderland deserve to be there. They're a big club, and I do think, you know, the biggest clubs in the Championship are either Sunderland or Leeds, and yeah, they both deserve to be up there in the Premier League. But yeah, as for the Stadium of Light, I think, yeah, it's an excellent stadium, and yeah, that's why it's my number 1. But yeah, once again, a massive thanks for watching this. I will be back soon with some other videos as well throughout the off season. But yeah, once again, a massive thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for the next one.